Today I want to talk to you about electromagnetic induction. If we want to understand electromagnetic induction, first of all you have to understand what is a magnetic field and what is electric field. As you know, the magnetic field is defined by the so-called Lorentz force equation, which tells this, that if we have a charge q moving with a certain velocity v, then it will experience a force perpendicular to the velocity v, and the force that it experiences is determined by the magnetic field B. So this B defines as well as describes what the magnetic field is. Similarly, if there is an electric field, the charge q experiences a force which is in the direction of the electric field and proportional to the electric field as well as to the charge. So this is the definition of the magnetic field. First of all, this force equation is the definition of the magnetic field, and this one is the definition of the electric field. From which you can also see something interesting, that the distinction of the electric field and magnetic field is rather thin, for the simple reason. Suppose I find a charge which is moving and therefore it experiences a magnetic force, because there is a magnetic field as we believe. Suppose I move in a cart, or I move in a high-speed vehicle which is moving along with the charge. Then the velocity of the charge disappears, but then even then the electric charge is experiencing a force. Then what will that force be? That force becomes now electric field. So therefore, the distinction between electric field and magnetic field is rather thin. It is a rather relative concept. Depends on from where I am looking. And this thin difference between electric field and magnetic field also shows up in the so-called phenomenon of the electromagnetic induction. What we find is this. If I have a magnetic field, and I know that there is a magnetic field because I have a magnet nearby, I change the strength of the magnetic field. Maybe I move the magnetic field back and forth, or maybe I change the current which is producing the magnetic field. Then as a consequence, what will happen? There will be an electric field. This is a rather interesting thing. A changing magnetic field produces an electric field. What about the reverse phenomenon? Will the changing electric field produce a magnetic field? Suppose I have two plates here, two plates. This plate is positive charged, this plate is negative charged. In between there is an electric field from the positive charged plate to the negative charged plate. Suppose I switch off the voltage, then the charge disappears, the electric field disappears. Will there be also a magnetic field? Yes. There will also be a magnetic field. So the interesting thing is this, that if I have an electric field and I change it, it produces a magnetic field. And if I have a magnetic field and I change it, it produces an electric field. And this thing, production, reproduction, etc., this takes place in a very interesting way. Here I change something. Maybe I have current flowing through a wire. Suddenly I stop the current. This generates, because when there was a current, there was a magnetic field. The moment I stop it, magnetic field wants to disappear. It cannot disappear immediately. But if the magnetic field has to disappear, this disappearance will cause an electric field, which is changing because it was not there. Now it comes into effect. Therefore, electric field is changing, which in turn will produce another magnetic field, which in turn will produce another electric field. What will happen? A surge of wave will pass. We get electromagnetic wave. Whenever you change a steady condition, something which was steady, or maybe it was not steady, it was changing. If you change electricity, charge, current, anything, distribution of charge or distribution of current, you change anything, that generates both electric field and magnetic field. So they are together always, except in a very, very special situation. I have a magnet. It is stationary here, not moving. It produces only magnetic field, nothing else. Or I have a charged pith ball or something. It produces only electric field and nothing else. But if I move around this magnet, this generates electric field, generates magnetic field, generates electromagnetic wave. Here we are discussing purely the electromagnetic induction, by which I essentially mean production of electric field. Okay, in order to understand electromagnetic induction, let us first of all see what happens when what happens to this wire. Suppose this is a metallic wire, as I told you. Suppose I move this wire this way. Suppose there is some electric charge, positive charge at this point. And suppose there is a magnetic field in this direction. The force due to the magnetic field is V cross B. V cross B. This is B. So you have V, B, curl your fingers. This is the direction of the force. So a positive charge carrier here will experience a force upwards. And I am moving it, okay? I am moving it. There is a strong magnetic, maybe the magnet is here. Right here I have the magnet, which is producing this magnetic field. So there is a strong magnetic field here, nothing here. So there is a force, tangential force in this direction. Not much force here. Average force around this circuit is clockwise. This is anti-clockwise direction. So therefore, if I move it, an anti-clockwise current should flow. There is an EMF. There is an EMF around the circuit if I move it. Okay, so what we find is that if there is a non-uniform magnetic field, not uniform, suppose the magnetic field is uniform, then whatever force is here is also here. There will be a force upwards. So if there is a uniform magnetic field, there is a force this way, there is a force this way, and they balance. If I take the net effect around, I get 0. So if I move this wire in a uniform magnetic field, there will not be any EMF. If I move this wire in a non-uniform magnetic field, there is an effect here, no effect here. So there will be a current flowing. Now let us think it little coolly. Suppose I don't move this wire. I keep the wire fixed and move the magnet. It's a strong magnet, but the effect is the same. Someone sitting on the magnet sees that this is moving. Someone sitting on the coil sees that the magnet is moving, but there is a galvanometer connected which shows deflection, whether he sits here or sits on the magnet. So what will he see? This fellow who is sitting on the coil, what will he say? He says that I am not moving, but there is a deflection. Therefore, what will he conclude? He will conclude, he sees that the magnetic field is changing. And therefore, he concludes that since this coil is stationary, the charges are stationary, why is there a current? Because there is an electric field. See this nice thing. In one case, someone who is moving with the magnet, who is stationed on the magnet, sees that the coil is moving. Therefore, he says that the force is a magnetic force. Someone who is sitting on the coil says that I am stationary. Therefore, he says, and stationary charges do not experience magnetic force. So he says that I am experiencing an electric force. The same force, someone says it is electric, someone says it is magnetic. Now, what we want to do here is this. I want to talk about the electric effect which is produced by the changing magnetic field. As you have seen, that's a person sitting on the coil says that the magnetic field through the coil is changing. Therefore, he says that there is an electric field. And what it is? It is summarized by Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, which tells that if the magnetic field through a certain region changes with time, then around that region there will be an electric field. In what direction? For this, let us first of all see what is the direction of the magnetic field that is produced by current. Suppose I have current, I have electric current. I have electric current flowing in the direction of my thumb. This is the direction of electric current. Current is flowing. This produces a magnetic field. In what form? It produces circular eddies of magnetic field. These are the lines of force that will be produced by a current which is flowing this way. Reverse the direction of current. If the current is this way, then this is the direction of the magnetic field. Always you must remember the direction. If you hold the arrow with the right hand, let the direction of the arrow indicate the direction of the current. Right hand, not the left hand. Thumb pointing in the direction of the current, then the fingers point in the direction of the magnetic field. What about electric field produced by changing magnetic field? Similarly, we have similar effect, except that here the effect will be reversed. This is the direction of the magnetic field. Now it is not the direction of the current. This is the direction of the magnetic field. And suppose the magnetic field is increasing. If the magnetic field is increasing, it produces an EMF which is just the reverse of the right hand thumb rule. It is not in the direction of the not in the direction of the fingers, but opposite the direction of the fingers. That is why Faraday's law tells the rate that the electric field produced by changing magnetic field is minus the rate of change of flux. That minus sign comes. That is why I am telling it is not in the direction of the fingers, but opposite the direction of the fingers. If the field is increasing, if the field is decreasing, still I have the field in this direction, but if the field is decreasing, then it is in the direction of the fingers. So what have we seen? I have a current, the current produces curling magnetic field. I have magnetic field, change of magnetic field produces curling electric field. This is rather interesting. So this is what is the electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction is essentially change in magnetic field is going to produce electric field, and if the change is positive, it will be in one direction. If the change is negative, that means if instead of increasing the field is decreasing, the change will be in the other direction. This briefly explains what is electromagnetic induction. And here today we would like to show you a few interesting experiments. In order to do that, I need a magnet whose strength can be varied, and the easiest thing that I can think of is a solenoid. And this solenoid I can vary the strength of the strength of the current, so I can vary the magnetic field. Now this is the solenoid I have taken, and I have wound the coil. This is something that you can do all yourselves. It's just nothing but I have taken some plastic sheet, and I have made a cylinder. On top of the cylinder I have wound about maybe 1000 turns or 1500 turns of some winding wire which you can buy. This winding wire will cost maybe some 4 or 5 rupees. And I have wound it in such a way that if I connect this red terminal to this red terminal of a battery, black to the black terminal, then this red terminal will correspond to anti-clockwise current, and the black terminal will correspond to clockwise current. Now let me switch it on, and here I have a compass needle. One of you can come and hold it. Now you can see, this is the north pole. If this becomes the north pole, it will repel it, and you can see. See? The south pole comes towards this, which means that the red side has become the north pole. And if I reverse the connection, the reverse thing will happen. So this is our model of a magnet, which I shall use to vary my magnetic field. Another thing which I shall do, I shall put also a ferrite core. I also wanted to show you something. If it is a magnet, it must attract iron, isn't it? As we know, magnet attracts iron. Let us see whether this attracts iron or not. Here it is. It is not attracting iron because it is not yet a magnet, because no current is flowing. Now I have sent the current, and see, it has gone inside. I shall show you once again. See, no current is flowing, therefore it is not a magnet. I let current flow and everything goes inside. It has now become a magnet, and because there is no pole, so it is not sticking to any pole. It has gone deep inside at the belly, so it has ceased to be a magnet. And if I want to strengthen the magnetic field, I shall put a ferrite core perhaps, and this will increase its magnetic field, increase the strength of the magnet, and let us see what happens now. You see all of them. So this ferrite core increases the strength of the magnetic field. Now I would like you to build a few pieces of magnet yourself. Here I shall show you something very interesting. This is just nothing but a condensed fluorescent tube choke, and this is a very useful raw material for learning, demonstrating, understanding, and perhaps living in electromagnetic induction. If you handle this, you will understand every aspect of electromagnetic induction. Now, this is a condemned choke, but you shouldn't throw it away. As you know, many condemned things have their own uses. This is a condemned thing, and what I have done, I have pulled out this core, and if you pull it out, you will get these two sets. This is the way things are arranged inside this condemned fluorescent tube choke. What you can do, you can turn it around and make it a nice electromagnet. In fact, what you are seeing here is something very interesting. This is the magnet you find in a Betatron or a cyclotron. Just, it is a miniature cyclotron. Here is this miniature cyclotron I am showing you here. Now before I go into this, I shall show you another electromagnet. Here what I have done, I have removed this extra piece so that both sides are level, and this is that piece. Now let me magnetize it. It is not a magnet now because no current is flowing. Now let me send current, and it has become a magnet. These are things that you can make. These are simple toys, yet they explain something useful. Now,
What is direction of magnetic field when current is flowing through a solenoid?
I have told you, if you look at the current, see the current is anti-clockwise, that is the north pole. Look at the current is clockwise, that is the south pole. That is a very simple rule. Say for instance here, in fact I forgot to show you this drawing. You can see a solenoid here. Now you can see the current, the direction of the current and the direction of the magnetic field. See, if you look, I curl my fingers in the direction of the current, thumb points in the direction of the north pole.
Yes.
Or in the direction of the magnetic field. Very simple. This right hand rule plays such an important role in magnetism and also in the explanation of the gyroscope, as I showed you yesterday. So this is the magnetic field we are finding due to a solenoid, and also this is the magnetic field you have in a real magnet also. Well, in a real magnet, this is the outside magnetic field. Inside also, I have the same kind of magnetic field. Now here, when I am saying magnetic field, I mean what in many textbooks called magnetic induction. I don't want to call it magnetic induction because the proper field is B field. It is sometimes called B field. So I shall simply call it the magnetic field, even though in many textbooks it is called magnetic induction. Now this is all just about magnets. What about electromagnetic induction? As I have said, that if I can vary the strength of the magnetic field, we shall get, what should we get? We get an electric field, as I have said. And this morning I was telling you that the distinction between a magnetic field and an electric field is rather thin. And perhaps I shall explain to you what I mean afterwards. Let us see certain experiments. Here, what I shall do is that I shall send a current through this coil. And as you know, if I send a current through this coil, this entire thing becomes a magnet.
Yes.
Now, and what happens? This becomes a magnet, and I have magnetic field along this. This is the ferrite core. Now I shall couple this magnetic field with this coil. Now what will happen? As there is a magnetic field through this coil, and this magnetic field I can change. How can I change? There is no magnetic field. Now I switch on. There will be a magnetic field. Then I switch it off. There will be no magnetic field. So first, there is an increase in magnetic field. In the second case, there is a decrease in magnetic field. Now what did I tell you in this morning? Let me look at it. I have told you that if the magnetic field increases, then this happens. If the magnetic field increases, then the reverse of the right hand rule, opposite the right hand rule. Then the right hand rule tells field is in this direction, it will be in the opposite direction. On the other hand, if the magnetic field decreases, then you will apply the right hand rule. Now what is this? What are these circles? These circles are the electric field. Now this electric field is different from the electric field you get from a north pole, for instance. The lines of force originate from the north pole. Don't come back to the north pole. They will go to the south pole. But here it is a kind of electric field which doesn't start anywhere. It just goes round in a circle. So this kind of magnetic field originates only from a magnetic field, changing magnetic field. So these are the peculiarities of this magnetic field. But one thing you can see, that the direction of the magnetic field when I am increasing the direction of the electric field when I am increasing the magnetic field is in a certain direction, whereas when I am decreasing the magnetic field, it is in another direction. And that is what I shall show. As I said, I am not passing any current through this coil. It is not yet a magnet. How can we know whether it is a magnet or not? I can see that it is not attracting iron. But on the other hand, if I switch it on, it will be attracting iron, as you can see. Switch it off, no attraction. No attraction now. Well, let me remove this. But if I switch it on, there is attraction. Switch it off, no attraction. So when I switch it on, suddenly a magnetic field is generated because it becomes a magnet. So it generates a magnetic field, and therefore we must have a current in a certain direction. In this you find is the number of LEDs, light emitting diodes. I have told you a little bit about light emitting diodes this morning. These are very simple pieces costing about 1 rupee. In Delhi it should be even cheaper, maybe 50 paisa a piece if you buy in large numbers. And these are very simple, and these give you a lot of fun. Now these light emitting diodes has this property that the current will flow only in one direction. If you are applying a voltage of 1.5 or little higher between the positive terminal and the negative terminal, positive to positive terminal, negative to negative terminal, then it will glow and current will flow. If you reverse the direction, the current will not flow. So therefore what I have done here, I have connected two diodes. One diode is red in color, and the other diode is green in color. So I have used two diodes, and what I have done, I have connected these two diodes across a coil through which the magnetic field is changing. This is what I am doing here. I have a coil through which this magnetic field is changing, and this coil is connected to two diodes, red diode and green diode. So in one case, the red diode will glow. Suppose I am increasing the current, and depending on how I have connected, it will take a little bit of time, so I do not want to spend time. But as I am only telling you that one diode is connected this way, the other diode is connected this way. So if I switch it on and I find that the red diode is glowing, if I switch off, I shall find that the green diode is glowing. Will there be any glow if there is no current?
No.
Will there be any glow if there is current?
Yes.
No. See, first of all, when there is no current, there is no magnetic field and nothing, there is no glow. When I have switched on the current and there is a steady magnetic field, again there will not be any glow.
Yes.
So neither will there be any glow when there is current, nor will there be any glow when there is no current, but there will be a glow during that transition period. No current to current may be red, current to no current perhaps green. So the moment I switch on the magnetic field, I hope my connections are all right. Let me see. It's working all right. Can you see? You can see.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Red, green,
Yes.
red, green. Current flowing, magnet is there, but no glow. Current stopped, immediately you get a glow. Now this is of course rather simple, and perhaps you have seen these kind of experiments using the galvanometer. I have not used the galvanometer. Galvanometer is a little expensive. You cannot do experiments with the galvanometer at your home. But another thing that you can surely work with, and that is also very simple, as I have told you, that I have used I have told you that this discarded fluorescent tube choke is a very useful piece of teaching aid. And what I have done here, as I just told you, I have arranged the directions like this. Previously, in the original choke, the direction was like this. I have reversed the direction, and after reversing the direction, this is what I have got. And I have a coil. I shall show you another piece. This is the thing that I have done. Here is one set of cores. Here is another set of cores. In between there is a gap. Now let us try to understand. If I switch on the current, well, there will be suddenly a magnetic field and there will be an EMF. Let me first of all explain to you what happens in a Betatron machine. A Betatron machine is a machine in which electrons are accelerated. Let us imagine that this is nothing but a Betatron machine, electron accelerator. You can accelerate electrons to maybe 500 MeV or so. In a Betatron, the maximum energy may be of the order of say 25 MeV. You cannot go much beyond 25 MeV. Now this is a Betatron machine, and in a Betatron machine, instead of switching on and off the electricity, what they do, they send alternating current. What is alternating current? All of you know. We use alternating current. the direction of the current is changing. Through a wire, current is flowing like this. Next moment flowing that way. So this way, that way, it is happening. If the current is flowing this way, then what will be the direction of the magnetic field? Downwards. If the current is flowing this way, upwards. So as the current is fluctuating this way, that way, magnetic field is up, down, up, down. And therefore, if it is up and then going to be down, that means across the surface, the magnetic field is decreasing. And therefore, there will be an EMF in the anti-clockwise direction. Now it is up, but the magnetic field is decreasing. So EMF in the anti-clockwise direction. Or when the magnetic field is increasing, then the electric field is in the clockwise direction. So what will happen here, it is a very interesting thing that what happens is that inside this region, there is an eddy of electric field. There is a whirlpool of electric field. Electric field is going this way, this way, this way, this way. As the magnetic field is dancing up and down, electric field is dancing anti-clockwise and clockwise. And as a consequence, if I have some electrons here, they will also dance in tune. They will be moving clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. And that is how you accelerate. It's a very interesting device to accelerate electrons in the Betatron machine. What I am doing here, I have this miniature Betatron machine, but I shall not call it a Betatron. It is just a transformer. What it will do, as the electric field is circulating clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise, it will send a current down this coil. Instead, in a Betatron machine, electron current flows in vacuum. Here, electron current flows through the wire. Let us see whether this happens or not. This is the circuit diagram I am using. I am sending current from the mains, 220 or whatever volts, 50 cycles. If I send this entire voltage here, perhaps this coil will burn. So I have done some things. I have put a resistance. Now what is this resistance? It is just a bulb, light bulb. That is the cheapest resistance I can get. You can get plenty of resistors, but a resistance which will dissipate so much amount of heat is not so easy to find. So the cheapest resistor which will dissipate that much of heat required to drop so much voltage is just a light bulb. So this is what I have used. So I have put the light bulb in series with this coil which has come here, and then what is happening, the electric current is flowing through this wire, causing magnetic field dance up and down, causing electric field dance anti-clockwise and clockwise, causing current flow through this wire. If I put a wire here, let us see. Do you see any glow?
Yes, sir, please.
If I remove it?
Sir, please.
Yes, sir.
You see?
Yes, sir.
I remove it, no glow. Or suppose I bring another thing, light emitting diodes. Light emitting diodes are best, very useful for such experiments. See, glow?
So please show.
I think there is too much light around.
Yes, sir.
Remove, no glow. See?
Yes, sir.
Now, another interesting experiment which I want to show you. Using the same choke, here we have the fluorescent tube choke, as I have told you. We have taken, what I have done here is this. I have taken these lamina, choke lamina, and as I just told you a little while ago, I have arranged them just as in a Betatron or a cyclotron magnet. So this is the magnet that I have, and I have some wire, winding wire, which you can buy. These are very cheap. Maybe it will cost about 5 rupees or so. Now this device looks very simple, taken out of things which people throw away in the junkyard. Still, as I told you, it is a miniature Betatron magnet or a cyclotron magnet. Now what is happening here? Two kinds of things will happen. This device will act as a generator. As you know, we generate electricity using Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. How do you generate electricity? There is some wheel which you have to turn, which in turn generates the EMF, electric field, and the current flows. What I have done here is this. I have taken a magnet from the market, and North Pole, South Pole, whatever the polarity, it is not shown correctly, but you can choose your own magnet. And then I have used some araldite to fix it with the help of there is some rod. This is bicycle wheel spoke. Cut out a part of it, and using some adhesive, I have fixed these two magnets with some little bit of paper packing. and I have put it here. I want to rotate it. Therefore, I have used a little bit of piece of aluminium strip, and now what I shall do, I shall keep this magnet in this gap. Now I shall rotate this. If I rotate this, what we believe is that some EMF will be generated around this coil. Let us see whether this happens or not. What I have done here, I have connected these terminals to these 2 points, which I am connecting to these 2 clips, which are again connected to LED. One of you hold it, please. Let us see. Anything happening?
Yes, sir.
So we have seen that this simple object is a very powerful instrument to give us some understanding about the electromagnetic induction. But we also know that something which acts as a motor also acts as a generator, and vice versa. Anything which is a generator is also a motor. Now, so far what have we done? I have rotated the magnet, consequently I have got current. Suppose I do the reverse thing, send current, will the magnet rotate? Let us see. And what I shall do the same kind of thing I did in the morning. I had taken a light bulb. The light bulb acted as a resistor to drop the voltage, because I don't want to apply the full 220 volts across this coil. This coil is not designed to carry such heavy voltage. So I am using again this light bulb to drop the voltage, and after dropping the voltage I am sending a reduced voltage across these terminals. Let me see what will happen. Okay, now let me rotate this. Anyone here can tell me at what angular velocity it is rotating, at what frequency it is rotating? Why is it rotating in the first place?
Because they induced current.
No induced current here. What frequency? What is the frequency of rotation? 50 cycles. Why is it rotating at 50 cycles? Because the magnetic, you see, as the current, as I have told you, the current is flowing this way, that way, this way, that way. If it is flowing this way, for example, the lines of force will be up. If it is flowing this way, it will be down. So what the magnet is trying to do, it is trying to point it in the direction of the magnetic field. If the magnetic field is up, then it will be pointing up, and vice versa. It is always trying to point in the direction of the magnetic field, align itself in the direction of the magnetic field. Magnetic field itself is going up and down, therefore it is also going up and down. Now how many times per second is the magnetic field alternating? That is what I am asking you. Yes? Don't you know that? 50, why should it be 50 cycles per second? Because this current is alternating 50 times per second. Alternating current. This way, this way, this way. How many times it changes direction? 50 times. 50 times it will be clockwise. 50 times it will be anti-clockwise. So naturally, 50 times North Pole is up.
50 times North Pole is down.
Naturally, it has to alternate 50 times. It has to orient itself in the direction of the field, and that is why this is happening.